2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. I'm Mayor Mike Ferguson calling this meeting to order. Roll call for our trustees. Trustee Esperson. Here. Trustee Brockler. Here. Trustee Cruz-Keefe. Here. Trustee Wendell. Here. Trustee Lazzaroni. Here. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Before we go into the meeting, lots been going on in the last 72 hours, so we want to fill you in on where we are at. Let's start with the boil water order. Boil water order should be lifted around 10 a.m. tomorrow. Yeah. Keep a watch on your Facebook page. Keep a watch on the website, channels 2, 4, 7, WDOE, Kicks FM, whatever. And don't forget, you can also sign up for New York Alert and get that as well. We had a couple people wondering about New York Alert. They signed up, they didn't get it. If you go back in, you can check boxes for what you want to receive alerts for. And I noticed a couple of people that showed me their phone had not checked off any boxes, or they checked off all the boxes. So you can pick the area of the community that you want it from. You can pick whether it's Fredonia, Dunkirk, you can, all of those. So please try to do that as best you can. Friday about 1:30. We had it was before that, but that's when we noticed a water main break on the corner of Temple and Central Street. Central Avenue. Believe it or not, going up and down that street, it took 7 hours just to gain control of where it was. We went through 2 asphalt streets and a brick street to get to this pipe, and it's in the oldest part of the community as far as one of the first places where they actually installed all those connections. DPW was on the scene. They got to work at 7:30 in the morning. The water main break started around 1:30. They left at 3:40 the next morning before St. George Enterprises took over the rest of the deal. It was a problem. We lost quite a bit of water in that instance, partially because we could not turn it off for fear of creating air pockets that literally would have probably destroyed the rest of the water system. So we lost a considerable amount of water, none of which went through your meters. So that's a good thing there. Coming in today, we noticed that once again, crews were back in those areas. In some cases, it's good that we had the amount of snow that we had because it created ice blocks that literally kept the water in the street and not going into your basements and not going, knock on wood, we didn't have a single resident that had water going to their basement or house. Again, probably the blessing of having all the snow on the side kept it going down the streets. We noticed it when I went down Center Street. They were coming down the side streets like it was Niagara Falls, and Center Street was literally, if you live there, you know it was a hockey rink. And we called in the help of town of Pomfret to do salting because when you drove, we had to drive to the college, and took Madison and Brigham. Water was at Madison and Brigham. Madison was on college property all the way to Starbucks and the college police department. It's probably the biggest water break that I've seen in the community in a very, very long time. Unfortunately, it was all linked to several different incoming lines. So we're still working on that today. That being the case, we've called for a state of emergency for water infrastructure at this point. With New York State, that will free up some monies for us to do these repairs. We are going to have a meeting in the next 48 hours with our DPWs and surrounding agencies to determine how much linear footage has to be accounted for, because that footage is going to determine what the cost is. And we're predicting that possibly could be in the millions of dollars. We are not obviously the only ones to have that happen. Buffalo had an all-time horrible break yesterday that flooded several buildings and evacuated neighborhoods. So 'tis the season when you have wind chill factors at 15 below. That having been said, I want to thank the DPW workers. As that water was splashing around, as it was shooting out of different orifices of the system, They were sprayed with wet water. It froze on them. They hung in there. Every one of our employees was there, and they were there for the duration. I want to thank St. George Enterprises for coming in with his crew. They were here again today. I want to thank Chico Lascola, former DPW director, for lending his expertise on what was where. I want to thank Scott, who also came and tried to help out with locating. It's like a maze. It really is a labyrinth. So once again, boil water order should be lifted around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We lost a lot of water. We had a chlorine pump that froze during this, so there was a lot of elements that went into this. The tanks are full again. The first couple of tests look good, so we suspect that we'll be back to regular business again tomorrow morning. But if you travel down Central or Temple today, it's not the same road right now. And it will take a while before we can get it back to that point, because we still have, it's been Band-Aided, but it could go again. So we're doing our best to make sure that the best people are involved. We'll be talking to our engineers and our team in the next 48 hours, and we'll have more information for you when that comes about. I also want to thank the neighbors who brought the guys food and beverages and pizza and donuts and all the other things out there. And I also want to thank Trustee Wandell for going out there in his shorts and trying to help him out with his expertise as an engineer. He does have great knowledge of the water system. So with that, we'll continue with the meeting. We have approval of minutes, please.
Whereas members of this board have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees special meeting of January 21st, 2026, and be it resolved that the board hereby approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Cruz-Keefe?
Aye.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Trustee Lazzaroni?
Aye.
It's time for the public portion. We ask that speakers refrain from remarks that are not germane to any action taken, contemplated by the board. Please know the village board is not legally permitted, but legally required to permit public speaking at the board. It is a privilege of the floor and hold public comment, although meetings must be open to the public under the open meetings law. The board is not a meeting of the public, but a meeting held in public, so those in attendance can observe the board discussing and conducting business. If the village board does permit public comment, the comment period is limited to public forum. The board can limit topics of public comment tonight moving forward to ensure the efficiency of the board and village business. Public comment will be limited to items on the agenda. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves, 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a legitimate group. Please also note that obscenities, defamatory statements, threats are not protected by the First Amendment, will not be permitted during public comment. In addition, we ask that all individuals conduct themselves in civil and respectful manner. Engaging in disruptive activities such as shouting or outbursts will be addressed accordingly. If there are disruptions, we may be forced to close the public comment. With that, we have 3 people. We'll go ladies first. Mrs. Linden, Mrs. Twitchell. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. I also would like to thank the DPW for their great work, because I'll tell you, I live on Temple, and it was a river running down that street for a number of hours. And I know they must have been wet and cold trying to fix that, and I want to thank them. Okay, I'd like to address 2 requirements of New York State open meetings law, which I believe this board is violating. 1, restricting public comments to items on the agenda is not correct. If public comments are allowed, this board cannot restrict them to any given topic. 2, documents related to agenda items must be posted 24 hours in advance. We used to publish the meeting's agenda on Fridays so that interested parties had time for discussion before the day of the meeting. And that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you. James Linden.
Thank you.
Good evening. James Linden, Castile Drive, Fredonia.
Nationally, there has been a lot of attention to the U.S. Constitution and violations of the First Amendment. Who would have thought that we would have to address this and the New York State open meetings laws here in this village boardroom? At the opening of the public portion of the Village of Fredonia board meetings, a limited public forum, the mayor reads what was a long-standing statement of public conduct. Since last September, he has made restriction statements of at least 4 versions, multiple versions having added restrictions. The mayor does not have authority to alter the statement. Rules governing public comment are legislative decisions are only made by the Board of Trustees acting collectively and must be made by a resolution of the board, not by the mayor acting alone. After the mayor became aware of the filing of an Article 78 against the Village of Fredonia for their proposed water project, the mayor directed restrictions and categorically prohibiting comment based on subject matter or viewpoint of topic related to the village business. Particularly after litigation was filed, the mayor appears to have engaged in viewpoint-based censorship. That is a textbook viewpoint discrimination under the First Amendment. The reservoir proposal and a citizen organization addressing it clearly involve village policy. Therefore, forbidding that topic is not a neutral rule. It's content-based and even viewpoint-based, targeting a group advocating a specific position. Compounding this issue, minutes of board meetings have been sanitized. Public Officers Law Section 106 requires that minutes accurately reflect all motions, proposals, matters discussed at open meetings. Omission of the mayor's remarks may constitute an improper alteration or suppression of the public record. Combined with the timing of the restrictions immediately following the filing of the Article 78 proceeding, suggests a pattern of retaliation or chilling effect and intent to discourage public discussion of ongoing village matters, which further chills public participation in civic affairs. The board must take appropriate corrective action to ensure that future meetings of the Village of Fredonia comply with both the open meetings law and the First Amendment. Thank you.
Andy Ludwig. Andy Ludwig, I'm sorry.
A few quick questions or comments about the recent water main break and the current boil water order. Does anyone know approximately how many gallons of water were lost during this water main break? And does anybody have any idea how much that would cost if we were buying water from North County Water District? I mean, just let's take the number 10,000 gallons, for example, and we're paying $1 a gallon. It would have cost $10,000. I think we probably would have paid more than that. Trustee Braukler, you went on the Save Our Reservoir Facebook page and posted a pretty long statement over the weekend. You started off by writing, I know that you don't have all the facts. If SOAR doesn't have all the facts, it's because you haven't given us the facts. You haven't answered our questions.
It was a response to a comment.
Don't interrupt me because I'm going to lose my time, okay? I'm happy to chat with you, but I don't want to lose my time. Can you give me about 10 seconds back, please? So some of the facts that you did share were kind of interesting to me. You stated that the current water treatment plant structure was, in fact, not able to sustain the new chlorination system. Now, I've asked about the new chlorination system to Trustee Wandel and to all of you numerous times. I don't recall anybody saying that the new chlorination system was going to be constructed adjacent to the current water treatment plant. I don't know when that was made. The statement was made. I also asked how much the chlorination system was going to cost. I believe it's going to cost about $300 grand, but I don't know because you've never answered my question. But why wouldn't you tell the public we're building a $300,000 new chlorination plant adjacent to the current water treatment plant? Is it because you don't want them to know that you could probably build a brand new, entirely new water treatment plant for less money than it would cost to connect to the North County Water District? And I guess I'd also like to know, why isn't the structural unsoundness of the water treatment plant addressed in the Labella report that you paid $140,000? You said that the chlorinator froze. I got to believe that in this cold weather, with these frigid temperatures that a chlorination freeze could have been predicted. It could have been prevented. Maybe you throw some heat on the system. I don't know. It just seems like you're being sloppy. And I'm going to say it again. According to James Sedota's figures and projections, it would cost less money over the long haul to build a brand new water treatment plant than to connect with the North County Water District. And lastly, Trustee Brockler, you wrote on a sort of Facebook page that I gleefully spoke at the last meeting. I don't know if you know what the word gleefully means, because nobody here thought I was speaking gleefully except for you.
That closes today's
Thank
public
you.
portion. Do we have any correspondence, Scott?
No.
Mayor's report. We talked about most of what I was going to go through today with regards to today's one of the last 72 hours, and we'll be addressing that shortly. I do want to take a minute. Because I do want to take a minute that, Mr. Ludwig, this man told you it was going to be $350,000.
When did you say that report in the public?
In his report. In his
Maybe that
report.
was one of the meetings you kicked us out of. I don't
No, I
know.
don't think it was. Maybe you got yourself figured out. And secondly,
I've
the
never read
water
it.
treatment plant cost $42 million alone.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the 17 that we were
Okay.
using to connect.
Mike,
But
this
thank
is the
you.
whole thing that we're trying to prevent.
Okay, thank you very much.
James Sedota gave you projections. I've got copies of them.
I am too.
Okay. So his projections are
Treasurer's
wrong?
report.
Show us projections that contradict what he said.
I don't think we do
The LaBelle reports have never done it.
Trustee reports.
$72 million more over the long haul. I think we built a nice water treatment plant for that.
that. Trustee Brother, you have a report today.
I just want to thank our DPW in St. George and all the other folks who are involved in trying to deal with this amazing mess. And I did want to say the details of the new system were brought up right here in this room. And if you missed them, you can go back and review the videos, because those are available to you. As far as not being able to be supported in the building, you made a comment some time ago about that. That was my gleeful comment reference. It probably dates back to September or October, when Natalie was
I stand
here.
corrected, but all you had to do was say, we're building the chlorination system adjacent to the current water treatment plant.
There you are.
Well, why couldn't you say that? Why couldn't you say that for the record, on camera, for the public?
It is on the record. It's in every discussion we had about it.
I'm gonna
So we'll
back
go
and
on with
watch
that.
the
Okay,
videos
that's a good idea.
myself.
Do you have anything else, Trustee Brackett?
I will say that's enough for me.
Okay. Trustee Cruz-Keith?
So I made contact with people in charge of the committees to which I'm assigned. So I contacted Angela McCoyak from Parks and Rec. She indicated that they're kind of in their off-season now, but she mentioned some of the programs the rec department has offered recently. I believe Mayor Ferguson may have already discussed some of these, but I'll just mention them briefly. The Trunk or Treat in October was a great success with over 1,000 participants and 32 vehicles and/or sponsors. In December, the Letters to Santa program received and answered over 100 letters. This month, the Fredonia Pomfret Rec Department is working together with Mr. Nick Bertrando, the athletic director at Fredonia Central Schools, and some of the JV and varsity basketball players to offer a basketball camp for younger athletes. The rec department provides the uniforms for this program. I met with Graham Tedesco Blair, director of the Barker Library. He very graciously gave me a tour of the library and the History Museum. I also had the pleasure of meeting Maxwell Waters, the curator of the museum, and Catherine O. Miller, the archivist. I attended their board meeting on January 21st. Just kind of a plug for them. They're currently accepting donations, so I encourage anyone who values our local public library to visit the website and donate what you can. I also contacted Rick Davis, the executive director of the Opera House, and attended their board meeting on January 21st. I believe it was today's newspaper. There was an ad highlighting the February programming, and they always welcome new members, so visit their website at fredopera.org to learn more. I exchanged emails with Alex, and Alex, I don't know how to say your last name, I apologize, Alex, from the Cable Access Board. And I was unable to attend their board meeting on January 22nd, but the next one looks like it is set up for February 12th, and I'm planning to attend that meeting. And that's it for my report.
Thank you. Trustee Esperson.
Yeah, on the 27th, we had another round of CSEA contract negotiations where we exchanged counter proposals. Well, there were a few items that were agreed to, like 3. Much more work needs to be done, and we've scheduled 2 more rounds of negotiation. On the 29th, Trustee Lazzaroni and I met with Chief Myers and the Treasurer to explore pluses and minuses of requiring all paid firemen and firewomen in the future to be medics. Talked about the cost of school, the overtime that we would incur and then eliminate. Scheduling were just a few of the items discussed. More work needs to be done, and we'll be getting together again in the near future. On the 30th, we met with the County Department of Health, Town of Pomfret, our engineers, the Water District, and others to discuss timelines and next steps. These are monthly meetings that we have with all those individuals and entities to ensure that we're staying on track. Following that meeting, Trustee Wandel and I spoke for a few hours with Matt from Labella discussing a kickoff meeting that he wants to have with the trustees, as well as addressing some progress and some concerns we had with the ongoing chlorination project. I thought that was very fruitful and informative, at least it was for me, not being an engineer. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Trustee Lazzaroni.
So as Trustee Esperson said, we did have a meeting with Josh, and we're talking about sending people to paramedic school and what that looks like in the upcoming budget. And we are also exploring some of the overtime issues there, because we need to knock that down a bit. And possibly ways that we could do that. I was encouraged by the meeting, and we're going to have to go ongoing meetings with all the departments about budgets. But if we're going to send people to paramedic school, we have to figure it out now, because it has to go into the budget. So I guess I'll say now that Josh was here before and wanted to purchase a camera, and I would like to table that so that I may speak to Josh about that, because I want to look at, I'm looking at the financial end of it, and we need to come up with a different solution to that problem. So instead of just voting no, I'd like to have a conversation with him about it. I want him to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying, and not just say, no, you can't have that. But we need to renegotiate that issue. So I know that he came in and said at the workshop that he needed money for supplies. So, we don't have an endless pit. So, I wish we did, but we don't. So we need to keep being, fiscally frugal with the village money. So I'm gonna make a motion that we table that and speak about it at the workshop.
I would second that.
Okay. Trustee Esperson.
We should probably do that when that resolution comes up. Not during
We'll go through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Trustee Wandel.
Thank you, Mayor. As usual, I have my lengthy report. First thing I'd like to say is I want to thank the DPW. They did a great job, tough working conditions. It's ongoing, but I give them a lot of credit, and also St. George, anyone, Town of Pomfret that was able to help out. Also, I'd like to report that Dunkirk Dave did not see a shadow today.
I know, 6 more.
So, whatever.
Damn, who would have thought?
But Punxsutawney Phil, I think it was different.
Of course.
Yeah. Getting the report here, on Thursday, January 22nd, I met with Cable Board for a monthly meeting. Unfortunately, not enough for a quorum. We had 3 out of 5 people, but we did discuss cable business. The next scheduled meeting, as Trustee Cruz-Keefe had said, February 12th at 4 p.m. Wednesday, January 28th, I met with our DPW Streets Department clerk. Her name is Jen Markula, and she had a punch list of action items in her department. We reviewed it together for status, what was completed, and what is still outstanding. Among outstanding items are the fire alarm at the DPW is not communicating with the fire hall. It has not been updated and is antiquated. She is waiting to receive 3 quotes for the project. She will follow up with Chief Josh Myers, so it's an outstanding issue. The radio tower that was wiped out by a storm in the past, though mobile has not yet been installed, mobile-to-base communications exists, but the range is very limited, of course, without an antenna. When better weather permits, the antenna install will be complete and the communication range will be restored. I want to thank Jen for following through the various issues at the street department. Her level of detail and priority are certainly an asset to the department. Lastly, she forwarded an updated copy of the streets department truck and equipment inventory. I believe, Alyssa, you should have that, correct, in your records? Okay.
Is that what this is?
No.
Okay.
So following that meeting, I spoke with the new supervisor, David Bird. David toured me through the entire facility where I've been before, but parts of which I had not seen. Notable was seeing the truck inventory and condition of each. In addition, plans for the new trucks and equipment were well explained. I also met with a new mechanic. He's a younger guy, and I was very impressed. Seems to have a great work ethic and a lot of mechanical talent. So I think he'll be a great asset to the department.
Oh, if I can interrupt for 1 second, we will let the public know that mechanic will be doing work on many of the village's vehicles and machinery, not just a DPW mechanic. So, go ahead.
I had previously asked David to find the 2002 E-size drawings from Tolman Engineering. Is an engineering company out of Jamestown. I don't even know if they exist at this point, but these are detailed maps of Fredonia's water mains and sewer lines, both sanitary and storm. Fortunately, they were located and relayed to me. I have since relayed them to Matt Higgins of Labella Engineering, who will scan and digitize them. As a matter of fact, an update on that actually occurred today. This will be a real asset for the Village Streets Department because it will maximize efficiency and provide for markup changes and version control. The way it's been being done in the past is just mark up a drawing on the wall. Finally, I express my support to David to assist with any department needs. On Friday, January 30th, I met with the mayor, Trustee Esperson, North County Water District reps, Chautauqua County Department of Health reps, LaBelle Engineering reps, Department of Pomfret reps to discuss the planning of our new water source project for the village. Among discussion items were, 1, current project updates from the village, town, and water district levels. 2, previous meeting information follow-ups. 3, overall the meeting was informative and helped all stakeholders better understand their responsibilities and associated project timelines and milestones. The next scheduled meeting is February 13th at 10 a.m. in Village Hall. 4, Matt Higgins spoke of an engineering kickoff meeting this week for our new water project. After that meeting, I will report out any important information and updates. And I believe that's going to be happening either tomorrow or Thursday.
I think Thursday.
Thursday, okay. And lastly, Friday, January 30th, as Trustee Esperson had said, I met with Treasurer LeBeau, Trustee Esperson, Matt Higgins to discuss EFC grant funding for the water project. This includes EFC grant application details and also considered our finance details associated with the water treatment plant chlorinator project.
Thank you. A couple things I want to mention after reports that came up during your reports. Jen at the DPW, we got to tip our hat off to her. She literally helps run the DPW with our supervisor, and she's been there now for a number of years, does a great job. And I don't think people take the time to thank her for all the time that she puts into that position. I also want to thank Town of Pomfret Board Member Mike Lee for coming out. And I also want to thank Steve St. George and Devin Jones for their hospitality, as we had Noah Coughlin, the gentleman who was running Across America, as part of America's 250th anniversary, and made a stop here in the Village of Fredonia. We want to thank the Fredonia Police, the fire department. We also want to thank the sheriffs and the state police, all who participated, making sure that Noah got here safe. He has only just 6 more states to go, and he needs to end up in Hawaii, of all places, for the 4th of July to complete his 5th crossing of America. So it was an honor to have him here. It was an honor to see what the fire department did to honor him as he was getting ready to leave town. And again, I was pleased to see Mike Lee come out and visit for that. I also want to thank Maxwell, that you talked about at the Historical Museum. He has a couple of programs that they are talking about for the community here as part of the celebration for America 250. That sort of creeped up on us a little bit. I remember 1976 when we were celebrating the bicentennial. It kind of flew by a little bit.
I was 1.
Don't rub it in. But get a chance to go to the library, get a chance to go see the great people at the library and the Historical Museum. They're treasures for the community, and I'll bet you there's a whole bunch of people that haven't been in there to see it. But there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, and we hope that you'll stop by and see that. So that's it. Treasurer's report.
December 2025. General fund revenue for the month of December, $109,136. Expenses, $565,511, for a net income of negative $456,374. Year-to-date for December, for the general fund revenue, $6,912,009. Expenses, $4,716,370. For a net income of $2,195,639. Total fund balance at the end of December was $1,250,541.
Thank you.
Water fund,
Oh, go right ahead.
December revenue, $146,665. Expenses, $174,445, for a net income of negative $27,780. Year-to-date at the end of December for the water fund, $1,226,334 revenue. Expenses, $1,384,740. Net income of negative $158,406. For a fund balance of $529,356. And the sewer fund, December revenue, $151,491. Expenses, $123,061, with a net income of $28,430. Year-to-date for December sewer revenue, $1,068,398. Expenses, $1,082,862, for a net income of negative $14,465. The fund balance at the end of December for the sewer fund, $822,537. Now you can go.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Resolutions?
Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 5520 of Village Law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. $1,000 from G8120.47 sanitary sewer gasoline to G8120.44 sanitary sewer contractual. $25,000 from F8029 water fund balance to F8340.44 water distribution contractual. $2,000 from F9030.8 water employee benefits social security to F8340.41 water distribution supplies. $10,100 from F1990 water contingency to F1420.1 Water Attorney Personnel Services. $14,900 from F8029 Water Fund Balance to F1420.1 Water Attorney Personal Services. $9,000 from F8330.45 Purification Fees to F8330.11 Purification Overtime. $70 from A1990.4 Contingency to A1950 Village Property Taxes. $1,000 from A7110.41 Park Supplies to A7110.44 Parks Contractual. $1,000 from A3120.47 Police Gasoline to A3120.42 Police Utilities Telephone.
Second?
I'll second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Krusky?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Lazzaroni? Before we go any further on that, I want to remind
Aye.
people. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say aye?
Now I do.
High hearing. It's gone. I'm old. Thank you, by the way. No disrespect. Staffing levels at virtually every department in the village right now are down anywhere from 30 to 50%. So you're seeing, unfortunately, an incredible amount of overtime right now. Not a lot of people are taking civil service tests for many of these positions. So we're encouraging civil service tests for these positions. And as we also said, this is okay with regards to saving money on the budget, but it's creating a lot of overtime, and it's also creating a lot of stressed staffing. So keep that in mind when we talk about overtime. Thank you. Next.
I guess I misspoke out of turn that I'm asking to table the resolution for the camera, because I'd like to speak to Josh personally about, Christine and Ben and I discussed about that, and maybe we can come up with a different solution than spending that kind of money on a new camera.
I'll second that.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Krusky?
Aye.
Trustee Locklear?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
And Trustee Lazzaroni?
Aye.
Which goes into the next one, which I asked this afternoon to also table this. to
I'll make a
discuss in
motion,
executive
I'll make a motion that we table the next resolution giving Gregory Myers a chance to speak with his attorney about the indemnification clause.
I'll second.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Lazzaroni?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Krusky?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson? Thank you.
All right, this one's going to take a minute. Whereas CSEA filed an improper practice charge, parentheses charge, on or about November 15th, 2024, alleging that the village violated Civil Service Law 209-A.1A and 209-A.1C by taking certain actions against CSEA bargaining unit employees and officers. Whereas the village defended its action and interposed an answer on or about January 22nd, 2025. Whereas the village entered into negotiations with CSEA in an attempt to resolve this dispute. Whereas the matter has been assigned to and scheduled for a hearing before Administrative Law Judge Gregory J. Poland. Whereas the parties are desirous of settling this dispute and the parties have agreed to the terms and conditions of a settlement. Now, therefore, in consideration of the mutual agreements and covenants contained herein, it is agreed by and between the parties as follows. 1. The village agrees that it violated the Taylor Law and drug and/or alcohol testing policy contained within the collective bargaining agreement when the Department of Public Works Supervisor Scott Marsh directed CSEA Unit President Kent Christopher to drug and/or alcohol testing following a CSEA union meeting in July 2024 in a manner inconsistent with the policy. This action was improper. 2, the village further does not dispute that the CSEA bargaining unit employees claimed that they performed weed whacking duties while it was raining outside on or about July 10th, 2024. The village agrees that any directive given to CSEA bargaining unit employees to weed whack in the rain or inclement weather where the employee's safety is at risk is inappropriate, and if such directive is given in the future, it may not be followed. 3, the village agrees that it will post a notice setting forth the above violations of the Taylor Law. This notice will be posted for 30 consecutive calendar days from the date and signature of the posting at the village's Department of Public Works Garage and Village Hall. The village further agrees that the notice must not be altered, defaced, or covered by any other material. The notice is attached hereto as Exhibit A. 4, in consideration of the village's acknowledgement and commitment set forth above, CSEA will forthwith request the withdrawal of the improper practice charge pending before the Public Employee Relations Board. 5, if any dispute or disagreement arises between the parties regarding this agreement, the parties agree that such issues will be subject to the grievance procedure contained in the underlying collective bargaining agreement. 6, this agreement sets forth the full terms and conditions between the parties and cannot otherwise be modified, changed, or altered without the express written consent of all parties hereto.
I second.
Here, give me a second. Trustee Lazzaroni?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Krusky?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson? Make a motion that we move to go to executive session to discuss personnel matter within the police department.
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Lazzaroni? You already did it. Trustee Brockler? Trustee Krusky? Trustee, you make a motion, please.
I will
Thank
make
you.
a motion that we go into executive session
There you
to
go.
discuss employment within the police department.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second on that? Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Krusky?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Lazzaroni?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the next Village of Fredonia Board of Trustees workshop takes place on Monday, February 9th at 4:30 right here in this trustee room, the second floor, Village Hall. The next Village of Fredonia Trustees meeting will take place Tuesday, February 17th at 6 p.m. in the trustee room, second floor, Village Hall. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night. Be safe, and keep an eye on social media and the news for the lifting of the boil water, hopefully tomorrow.